Hey guys, Strike here, coming at you with another Toy Story related video, and today I'm going to be going over some collection updates and some custom updates with you guys that I wanted to share. Some of the stuff is actually custom, and some of the other stuff is just simply, things that I've acquired that I'm really excited to show off. Now, the first thing I want to do before I get started is I just want to give a shout out to my good friend Henry, because, or I should say his username on everything is Hank the Tank, and he's been making custom Woody stuff as well, and not just Woody but other characters too, like Jessie and Buzz, or at least planning on it, hopefully. I know we've been talking about some things that are pretty exciting for the future, but I wanted to give him a special shout out because I got one of these badges off of him, and he kind of did the same thing I did with the Mattel badge, or I molded the US Mattel Sheriff badge. This is the UK exclusive and Australia exclusive Mattel Woody badge, and it's pretty accurate to the later movies, I know. I will say, for comparison, this one is a lot smaller than the one that I've been using. The one that I have been using is actually this one, and this is the actual original piece, not any of the ones that I've actually made. As you can see, it's very dark, and it's also very flat, but it's nice and big. It's really accurate to the first two movies, I think, and it fits like the collection Woody very nicely, whereas this one's very small in comparison, but I would say that the shaping on pretty much everything here is more accurate. Now, if this badge was just about the size of the original Mattel badge, I think that would have been the ideal Woody badge, and it would have been completely perfect. But sadly, Mattel has gone two different ways with these two different badges, and if I'm not mistaken, that UK Australia Woody doll is kind of small compared to other Woody dolls, but that's just me. I don't actually own it, but he casted the badge, and I got one from him, and it's just really cool to have. And I will be adding a pin back to this so I can apply it to whoever I feel I want to apply it to, whether that be a Woody or a Jessie. Anywho, now the first custom that I did was something I did very spontaneously. I wasn't planning on doing it, but I just kind of decided one day that I wanted to. Now, I do not plan on making these or selling these or anything, but it was pretty easy to make, so I'll just go over how I did it, and I'm gonna need to back up and adjust my new tripod a little bit to go over it. So as you can see, I've made a Luxo ball, or a Pixar ball, from just a regular kickball that I purchased at the store for about $8, and then I went and got some spray paint from Home Depot, and I believe, I can't remember what colors they are, but I know this is apple red, and then there were a couple different blues that you could choose from. Now, the actual pictures of the ball from like the animations is a little bit different. Whenever I was at the store and I was purchasing the spray paint, I kept finding pictures of the Disney Expo balls, or whatever they're from. They're from one of the conventions that Disney had where Pixar was present, and this is one that I got off of eBay because I wanted it, but it's very small. I've got this weird nick right here. It's the right material, but it's very small. I know this is like the current one that they're giving away. They used to make them like this, and more like this material, which it's really supposed to be, but they don't make them full size anymore for some reason, and it's just kind of annoying. So I decided to take matters into my own hands and make one myself, and this was pretty easy for the most part. If you get in close, you will notice that the paint job wasn't perfect. You can kind of see where it's running a little bit on the edges, but like from far away, it's not too noticeable. The line, or the stripe I should say, across is definitely not perfect either. You got to remember, to do this, what I did is I just took the yellow ball, decided where each of these shapes is going to be. As you can see, there was a sticker here, or not a sticker, but like a printed barcode and some copyright info. This is the crap side that I'm deciding to kind of cover up and pretend isn't there, and just kind of display it like this because, you know, this side's kind of crappy. But also, I guess I didn't do, well, I guess I did kind of do the star lined up. Yeah, you kind of have to decide, and this was a sacrifice that I made with the barcode. Got to decide. There was a logo somewhere along the stripe that I covered up with the stripe, which is, it turned out really nice. But yeah, it's technically not this material, but it's what I found, and I just wanted to make it and have it. But I think it turned out pretty good. I did spray this side with a clear coat gloss sealer so that it doesn't come off. But you know, it's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. I wanted a full-size Pixar ball, and I made one happen. So my next entry to, you know, a custom isn't really super customized. A lot of these are just minor adjustments for the characters that I'm going to show you. But the first one is going to be for Jessie, and this is the Signature Collection Jessie. So the material for the jeans is crap, and I never owned the original Jessie. This was my first Jessie doll I think I've honestly ever owned in my whole life, and I have been a colossal Toy Story fan my whole life. So the fact that I didn't own a Jessie was kind of like weird, but I mean, I don't have a super strong attachment to Jessie, so, you know, that's kind of why. The main thing I did with Jessie, the first thing I did when I got her, is I replaced the ring just to match the size of the Woody. I did get new pearl snaps for Woody, which I will show off on Woody in a different video. I wanted to make this a Woody-free video, since most of my videos have been about Woody, but I got new pearl snaps, and shout out again to Henry and Brett for kind of guiding me to get the better pearl snaps for the Woody customs. And of course the spares that I had were from Jessie. And then for her hat, I was trying to do this for the Woody doll, and it didn't work out for Woody necessarily, but I did make it work for Jessie. There's this stuff you can get from the craft store, I got it from Hobby Lobby, called Sketty string, and it's spelled kind of like, it's spelled in kind of like an not an abbreviated, but like it's a shortened version of Sketty, kind of like a childish way of spelling Sketty. This is a black version, but you can get white and a bunch of other colors, not brown. I'll tell you that right now. That was the main thing, is what I was trying to do, is get brown plastic lining like this for Woody, but they didn't have it. So what I tried to do is dye the white brown with some dye. Didn't work, but the white worked for Jessie, and all you got to do is you got to cut the string that was originally in here, and I think I used about 23 inches for Woody's hat, and I think it's about the same for Jessie's hat, if I'm not mistaken. It might be a little bit more, I can't remember, but I did it first try and it worked perfectly. So now Jessie's hat has more of a plastic, what do you call it, like a plastic lacing going through it instead of a string, which was really lame. But that's pretty much it for Jessie. That's all it's going to be for Jessie. I don't feel like I'm going to end up customizing her more. I didn't even write my name on her boot, so Jessie is Jessie, and that's all she wrote. Now, the next one is not one that I expected to own unless I made one myself from scratch, but I've been too lazy to do that, and I don't really care enough to do it. So when I was at Five Below, I found this little Forky figure, a little bendable toy, who had these horrible, crappy rubber eyes that were just kind of molded and painted onto the actual figure itself. And I took an X-Acto knife and cut them off and put on googly eyes. No, I didn't use glitter glue because I don't have that. But the main thing is that his arms bend, so I can do whatever I want with him, basically. And I gave him a nice little pile of trash I worked together So, yeah, there is Forky. Not really necessarily too much of a custom, but he exists. The next one, I don't think I've shown on my YouTube channel yet, but I've shown it on my Instagram account, Cowboy Crunchies, for Toy Story related stuff. But the aliens I got at the same time I got Jessie, who, by the way, both these guys and Jessie were on clearance. This was around Easter time this year, so what was that, March or April? Something like that. But these guys were $10 for the 3-pack, which originally it was like $40, and then I got Jessie for 20 or 30 bucks. I don't know, it was more than 20, but it was around $35 for Jessie. And there is a YouTube channel on here. I'll try to link to the video in the description on that shows you how to make them actual squeak toys, because the release of these, a regular release, they're not squeak toys, but I have made them squeak toys following this YouTube video, and all of them squeak now. And the video doesn't really tell you how to get the squeakers. You can order, well, it does. You can get them in the video. It tells you can get like a pack of 100 off of Amazon. But here's what I did instead of doing that, because I would have had to wait for the squeak toys to show up, or the squeakers themselves to show up, and I didn't want to wait. I don't care about the aliens too much to put that much effort into it, and the fact that I own them at all is a miracle. But I went to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree sells everything in the store for $1 or less, and you can get dollar dog toys with squeakers in them and simply cut them out and give the other remaining dog toy parts to your dog, and you can get the squeaker for your alien. And all you really need after that is a drill and some scissors, and you're good. It's pretty perfect, and it was the easiest thing I think I've done in terms of Toy Story customs. Now, the next two are not customs. They are just really cool additions to the collection that I've started since, you know, I've started customizing Woody and all that. But the first one I want to show off is Mr. Mike. And Mr. Mike works. He's a little dirty. I still have to clean him up. I meant to do that today, but I didn't. Mr. Mike still works. You pull out the microphone and press down on the thing here, and the light turns on. And now you can talk into it, and it's awesome. And he does play cassettes. And unfortunately, I think I might have one cassette in the other room, but I don't want to go get it right now. I'll make a separate video showcasing Mr. Mike playing a cassette or something. And there's this switch over here. I don't know what these two switches do. I don't remember. There's that earphone jack. That's kind of neat. He takes 4 C batteries, which thankfully they still sell. Those things are huge, and I'm surprised that they still exist. But Mr. Mike, I won on eBay. He is so far the most expensive one, most expensive Toy Story character or toy that I've added to my collection so far. Everything else has been pretty decent priced. Even the original collection stuff that I got back in the day was cheaper than this guy. These are stupid hard to find, by the way. If you can find one for a good price, I recommend getting it. And I'm a good price is anywhere between maybe $100 to $175, and that's a good price on him. There are a couple of these guys on eBay in a lot better condition that are like hundreds of dollars, and that is ridiculous. It's a fantastic toy. Like, just playing around with it a little bit, I'm very, very impressed, and I'm also like really saddened that they don't make toys of this quality anymore. And this is the kind of thing that I kind of wish would come back as like a retro throwback type thing, but it would not be this high quality, and it's a cassette player. You put cassettes in there and play them, and cassettes are basically obsolete. I know they kind of come back for like hipsters and stuff, and to be fair, I own cassette tapes. I just am a horrible person and didn't bring any in here to test in him. But if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna get the soundtrack to Toy Story, because duh. He's really cool. I need to clean him up a little bit. He's got some smudges and he's got some just scratches all around. But Mr. Mike is an awesome addition to my collection. I'm very glad to own him for a good, decent price. But again, he was the most expensive guy in my collection. I'm just pressing buttons now. He's very cool. Anyways, the coolest one I think I own right now. I'm going to make some space because he's big. This is one that I have been waiting for a while. I almost settled and got the cheaper ones from Toy Story 4 because I just wanted to have one for display, but I held off for a long time and it paid off because I found this guy on eBay for a huge fraction of the price that he normally goes for, and it's just a great story. So let me bring him onto the screen. And if I'm going to do this right, it's going to blow up in my face, but here we go. Okay. How do I, no, stop. Okay, well, he is obviously RC. And this is one of the ones that I really regret not buying back in the original release of the Toy Story collection. He is one of the coolest looking toys from the movie. And I had the original ones when I was a kid, and some of them had like the wired controller, and some of them had wireless controllers, but they were all like half the size at most of this RC. This RC is the biggest one ever because he's the most size accurate, and he's just the best looking one for sure. And I found this guy on eBay for $100, and $100 is like a steal for this guy, including the controller. That was the main selling point for me, is that he had the controller, and the person who was selling him wasn't sure if he still worked. He was not tested. The only downside is that he is missing the antenna for both him and his controller. But the good news is that I actually was able to order the antenna pieces from Thinkway. They still will sell those to you for a very low price, and they don't need the antenna pieces. Like, the toy doesn't need the antenna pieces, but I wanted it just so that it would be complete. And I told basically everybody who knew about me getting this RC that if he actually works, if I can get him to work when he gets here, I'm going to lose my mind. And so what I did, I'm gonna turn him back on. He's gonna, so let me go over what I did first. So I unscrewed the battery compartment on him, and there are 6 AA batteries for him that are required and 3 AAAs for the controller itself. And you need there are those little springs in the battery compartment that power the thing. They're conductors, and they use the battery acid to power the thing. And I've seen it happens all the time with toys, but sometimes you'll get a leaky battery, or a battery will like explode in the toy, and the acid will leak and corrode the wire, the springs. It'll get all over the springs, and then your toy stops working. Well, RC had that problem, I think, but I noticed when I got them, I unscrewed them, and there were no batteries in there, but there was all like the gunk. So I took, there's another video I'll link in the description if I remember to, and the video shows that you use baking soda and a little bit of water, you mix it into a paste, and then you take a Q-tip, and then you rub around the areas where you see that gunk covering the springs. You remove that, and then you wipe it down with a damp towel afterwards, damp paper towel, and you let it dry, and then you stick batteries in and test it. Well, I did that, and then I turned him on, and then he just kind of started doing things. So, like, RC might, yeah. Yeah, see, he kind of did that there, and, if you touch him, too, he just kind of does random things. And I don't know why he does that, but, I mean, that's part of the function of the toy. He just kind of does random things on his own. And he was doing that, but I was pressing the buttons. And he wasn't... I was doing all kinds of things, and he wasn't doing anything. He was just kind of, like, flipping out. But after a little while, the controller must have kicked in or something, and he started working. And now he works. I don't know if this is supposed to wobble like this, but mine does. He's not in, like, perfect shape. I'm gonna turn him off again. He's not in perfect shape, but... where'd the thing go? Alright. Yeah, he's not in perfect shape, but he works, and that's all I care about. He has some dings here and there that need to be either touched up or ignored, because, I mean, honestly, if he's not in perfect condition, I'm not gonna complain. But I own him now, and that's the important thing. And I will get those antennas soon, and show him off again when he has the antenna pieces on both the controller and the RC himself. And I'm very happy to own him. I'm just so stoked that he works and that I'll have him complete. And that I got him for such a great deal. It's just, it all worked out, and I'm very happy about it. Now, the last thing that I want to show off before I go is basically, it's a preliminary prototype type deal. If I get it over here. So what I did, and I've posted a picture to the Facebook Toy Story Collection group, and I've posted a couple of pictures on my Instagram account, Cowboy Crunchies, which is my Toy Story specific Instagram account again, for those of you who haven't followed that yet. But I have been talking for over a year about making a custom Toy Story Mr. Potato Head, and I really want to cast the parts and make them, you know, accurate parts to the movie, including the body, making the body accurate to the movie. I know a lot of people are customizing the standard Potato Head body, which is great, and that's fine, and some of them look really, really good, and it's really cool to see that. But I really want this Toy Story Collection Potato Head body to be the Potato Head body. So I took all of my Potato Head parts and took the collection body and stuck them all together using some sticky tack to show you what the actual Mr. Potato Head from the movies would look like. And here he is, not centered on camera, of course, but here he is. These are the blind squirrel props eyes that you can get on Etsy occasionally. Sometimes they're not on there, but they should be on there right now. The rest of almost everything is the original collection Potato Head body. In case you hadn't know, or you haven't seen my other videos, mine stopped working years and years ago. I was in a weird phase when I was a teenager, taking a bunch of things apart. So of course this wasn't working, so I took it all apart and took everything out of it, and couldn't get it to work again, so I just kind of scrapped all the original digital components and wires and stuff, sadly, and I hollowed out the Potato Head and made him basically like Potato Head from the movie, where he's just a bunch of parts. But this is the first time I'm sticking everything together with sticky tack, and this is pretty much what he should look like, aside from this ugliness on the back. The eyebrows are eyebrows that I made. I made these using the resin I used, same resin I used to cast the Woody badges and stuff, and I just used resin dye that Illumilite makes to color your resin, and of course I just dyed them black, and here it is. I would like to do the other parts too, of course, and I want to do them in color so that they're just colored pieces of plastic and they work just like a regular potato head. But that is him. The hat just sits on top, and everything else is sticky tack. As you can see the blue in pretty much everywhere, and the arms don't stay on because they're so long and heavy, but for the most part everything else stays on. Anywho, that is going to be it for this video. Of course, these are just some minor updates to my collection, and will be usually, some of these will be updated long before, or before too long goes by. I just want to put some of them back in frame. Anywho, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you liked it, check out some of my other Toy Story related videos, and follow my Instagram account, Cowboy Crunchies, for more Toy Story related stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.